Welcome. Today we'll touch on distraction and being present and the relationship between the two, and how sometimes distracting ourselves might be useful when we're feeling a little overwhelmed, and how sometimes turning inward and paying attention to that which is the very source of our frustration and the ways we're feeling frustrated or anxious or agitated can also be useful. It's this turning towards and turning away from, and how it's not like one is the only way to go. They each have their utility, especially if done somewhat purposefully. And so a song from the 1960s called Downtown, I think, can be informative. And so in a moment, I'm going to look to some of the lyrics to set us off on this exploration, settle in on one lyric in particular as a metaphor, and then we'll do a practice together and close with the beginnings of the song, and in particular the lyrics that I am drawing upon. So here is the sheet music from the 1960s of the song Downtown, written by Tony Hatch and sung by Petula Clark. And the lyrics begin, "When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown." So we can hold out, what does this downtown refer to? And I think it refers to a way of being okay, and in some cases it's a way of being okay by turning away from the challenges, and in others it's turning towards the challenge. At least that's the way I find these lyrics to be instructive. So when you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know, downtown. So the noise and the hurry, sort of the distracting ourselves from what's taking place, is how this begins. And we will do that sometimes. We will distract ourselves. We will say, I don't have time for this. I don't want to deal with this. This is too much. And we'll find something else to do, whether it's something to watch on TV, something to read, getting out and jogging or exercising, or having a conversation with somebody. And these things can be useful in their own right, to be sure, and they distract us from our worries. And then it goes on to say, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Right? So that's interesting. The traffic we tend not to think of as music, but if we're paying attention, if we're turning our attention towards the sounds and just listening to the sounds as sounds, not telling a story about it, perhaps it has music. And there's some interesting songs in American in Paris that draws upon the sounds of the streets, etc., as music. So just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger, right? This is this attending, witnessing, observing. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, so go downtown. And it's when we do pay attention, things do become brighter. We see things more vividly, more clearly. Now, the verse then picks up, don't hang around and let your problems surround you. There are movie shows. And so we'll turn our attention for a moment to that metaphor and how that might be useful in terms of the practice that we'll do in just a moment. The movie show. Oftentimes we can think of our life as happening and we're caught in it. And we can also be aware at times that there are things arising in terms of thoughts, feelings, etc., that we're having that are not necessarily useful or even germane, that we're making this into more than it is. We're not allowing ourselves to feel it for what it is. And so the metaphor of a movie show is helpful. When we're sitting in the chairs of a movie theater or on the couch watching something on Netflix or a TV show, and we're watching, we can get very easily pulled into the drama, pulled into the story. It's like the distance between the screen and ourselves collapses, and we are riding along the roller coaster of that experience, that character that we're identifying with, or the characters that we're caring about or we're caught up with. And at some point, we oftentimes will catch ourselves, especially if we're feeling it intensely, and say, oh, it's just a movie, it's just a movie. And there's a liberation in that moment where we, again, reclaim a more direct knowing that it's happening, but it's not all that we are. In fact, in that case, it's really not what we are, although we might relate to it as a human being relating to another human being's experience. So when we lower or close our eyes in a moment and we pay attention to thoughts, feelings, and sensations that will continue to come and go, and images and memories and thinking about the future, some of which can even have a visual quality to it, we are seeing if we can stay in our seat. If we can remember, wait, I'm sitting here and I'm observing. I'm observing the flow of my own storytelling. I'm observing the flow of my own emotional engagement. And by holding that observational stance, we are able to simultaneously be present for our life without getting sucked into the things that aren't necessarily as real as we think that they are. And what I mean by that is somebody says something and you take it to mean something, but you realize in time that you overreacted, you misinterpreted it, right? Or whatever the case may be. So let us do this practice together with this metaphor of the movie show in mind. Importantly, when we watch a movie or a TV show, it's somebody else's story. And so there's already a little distance that we have. And when we wake up out of it, we're like, oh yeah, that's right. Here we're watching our own story. It's like going to the movie and watching our own life unfold. And so there's two things about that that are important. One is we're all that much more likely to get pulled in and stay pulled in. At the same time, if we're able to observe and stay in our seat, we also stay very much connected to our life. So it both is an opportunity to be even more fully present for the life that is ours, and also to be able to keep an observational distance so that we're not over-identifying or making assumptions that can get in the way of our own well-being and the way we relate to others. So let's go downtown. We bring ourselves into a posture that's upright and stable as we lower or close the eyes, whichever you prefer. Resting attention on the sensations of the body sitting. This body, making contact with the chair or the cushion beneath you as you breathe. Aware of the sensations of your hands, one and the other, your fingers touching or on your lap, by your side. Aware of the feet, the sensations in the bottom of the feet, the toes, making contact with the ground, your socks, shoes. Aware of the breath flowing through the body and of the body moving with the breath as we breathe in and out, and we take a few slower, deeper breaths, breathing in and breathing out. In and out. In, out. We've settled into our seat. If we haven't already, eyes lowered or closed, whichever you prefer, as we watch the show. Unlike many movies, we don't really know what it is that we're going to see today, we're going to think, we're going to feel, we're going to experience in the next several minutes of this practice. But we will, and we'll find out. So there's the mystery of the next few moments. Attending to the sensations of the breath. This breath anchors us to our seat. It steadies us. So that we can watch, we can observe what arises, what comes and what goes. And there's an important reminder and insight here. We're not all about being stuck in our seat, only aware of what it is to be sitting. We're also interested in the show, aware of the changing scenes. But we're also interested in observing the show from our seat. And so we're focused, grounded, and aware and open at the same time. Breathing. Aware of the body, moving with the breath, and of the breath flowing through the body. And when you're ready in the next moment or two, with an awareness of doing so, lifting the gaze, opening the eyes. And so we've paid attention, we've watched the movie show of our own life, unfolding in a less busy way perhaps, because we're taking time to sit and observe. But now that the eyes are open, in a moment, we'll get up and move about into the world more, we could say more fully. The movie show continues to play. And because there's so much more going on, we can lose sight of the stories that we're telling ourselves, or the ways that our emotional engagement might be bigger than what's happening, or not as fully informed and rich as what's happening, and we can pay attention to this body, to attend to the breath as one way to reclaim a little bit of a better and clearer view of what's taking place. Wishing you well.